Martin Luther King was a very important man in America. He was born on January 15, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. He was a leader in the fight for equal rights for all people. He believed that everyone should be treated the same, no matter the color of their skin. He wanted peace and love, not hate and violence. His life was dedicated to making the world a better place, and his work changed the lives of millions of people. When Martin was a young boy, he saw that life was not fair for Black people. Black people had to go to different schools, eat in different restaurants, and even sit in different parts of the bus. This was called segregation. Martin did not think this was right. He wanted to change it. He often talked about how unfair it was that Black people were treated differently just because of their skin color. His father was also a pastor and a strong believer in equality, and he taught Martin to stand up for what is right. Martin was a very good student. He went to college when he was only 15 years old. He studied hard and learned about many great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi believed in peaceful protests. Martin liked this idea. He thought peaceful protests could help change the world. He believed that violence only caused more problems, but peaceful actions could show people the truth and make them want to change. This idea became very important in his life and work. After college, Martin became a pastor. A pastor is a church leader. He talked to people about love and peace. He told them to stand up for what is right, but to do it without violence. Many people listened to him and followed his ideas. He became a leader in his community and started to work on making changes in society. He wanted to help Black people get the same rights as white people. He believed that everyone should have the same opportunities in life, no matter what they looked like. In 1955, something important happened. A Black woman named Rosa Parks was arrested because she did not give her seat on the bus to a white person. This was the law at that time. Martin and other leaders decided to protest. They asked Black people not to use the buses. This was called the Montgomery Bus Boycott. It lasted for more than a year. Finally, the law was changed. Black people could sit anywhere on the bus. This was a big victory for Martin and his followers. It showed that peaceful protests could work and that people could make a difference if they worked together. Martin became famous after this. He traveled all over the country to speak about equal rights. He gave many speeches. His most famous speech was in 1963 in Washington, D.C. It was called the I Have a Dream speech. Thousands of people came to hear him. He talked about his dream of a world where all people are treated equally. He said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin but by the content of their character." Many people were inspired by his words. They felt hope for the first time in a long time. They believed that change was possible. Martin and his followers faced many challenges. They were often arrested and sometimes hurt. But they never gave up. They continued to fight for what they believed in. They organized marches, sit-ins, and other peaceful protests. They wanted to show the world that change was possible without violence. One of the most famous protests was the March on Washington in 1963. More than 250,000 people came to the Capitol to demand equal rights. It was the largest protest of its kind in American history. Martin's speech that day became one of the most famous speeches in the world. In 1964, Martin won the Nobel Peace Prize. This is a very important award given to people who work for peace. Martin was very proud of this honor. He said it was not just for him, but for all the people who fought for equal rights. He believed that the award showed that the world was paying attention to the struggle for civil rights in America. It gave him hope that things would continue to change for the better. Martin's work helped change many laws in America. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 were passed because of his efforts. These laws made it illegal to treat people differently because of their race. They also protected the right of Black people to vote. Before these laws, many Black people were not allowed to vote because of unfair rules and tests. Martin fought hard to make sure that everyone had the right to vote, no matter their skin color. But not everyone agreed with Martin. Some people did not want things to change. They believed in segregation and did not like what Martin was doing. On April 4, 1968, Martin was in Memphis, Tennessee, to support a strike by Black workers. While he was standing on the balcony of his hotel, he was shot and killed. He was only 39 years old. His death was a great shock to the world. People everywhere were sad and angry. They could not believe that such a great man was gone. Martin's death was a great loss for the world. But his ideas and his dream did not die. People continued to fight for equal rights. Today, many things have changed because of Martin Luther King. Black people and white people can go to the same schools, eat in the same restaurants, and sit together on buses. But there is still work to do. Martin's dream of a world where everyone is treated equally is not yet complete. People still face discrimination and unfair treatment because of their race. But Martin's work inspires people to keep fighting for justice. Every year, on the third Monday in January, America celebrates Martin Luther King Day. This is a day to remember Martin and his work. People think about how they can help make the world a better place. They remember his words about love, peace, and equality. Many people use this day to do community service and help others. They want to honor Martin's memory by continuing his work. Martin Luther King was a great man. He believed in justice and fairness. He showed the world that peaceful protests can bring change. He inspired millions of people to stand up for what is right. His dream continues to live in the hearts of many. We can all learn from his example and work to make the world a better place for everyone. Martin's life teaches us that one person can make a difference. He showed us that even when things are difficult, we should never give up. We should always fight for what we believe in, but we should do it with love and peace. Martin Luther King's dream is still alive today. It is up to all of us to keep it alive and work towards a world where everyone is treated equally. We can do this by standing up against injustice, helping others, and treating everyone with kindness and respect. Martin's work reminds us that change is possible, but it takes time and effort. We must all do our part to make the world a better place. In conclusion, Martin Luther King was a hero. He fought for equal rights and justice. He believed in peace and love. His work changed America and inspired people all over the world. We should always remember his message and continue to work towards his dream. Martin Luther King's legacy will never be forgotten. He will always be remembered as a man who made the world a better place. His dream of equality and justice for all continues to inspire people today, and his words remind us that we all have the power to make a difference.